Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today to talk about the natural mathematical sciences here at OSU. So we're going to be talking specifically about the College of Arts and Sciences and what you might experience as a student and how you can get some more information on our programs. So my name is Jen Beckley. I actually run the STEM Scholars program here, and we'll talk a bit more about honors and scholars later. But I have the unique experience of getting to work with students from pretty much all of our STEM majors here. So here is my information if you are interested in contacting me to ask some more specific questions, or if you're trying to get in touch with someone at the university. I'm pretty good at hitting a forward button and getting you in contact. So please feel free to use that, and I'll put it back up at the end as well so you have another chance to grab that. So the College of Arts and Sciences is actually the biggest college at Ohio State. And it actually covers a lot of different areas. So we have our arts and humanities, we have our science and math programs, and the fact that these are all located within the same umbrella college actually allows us to have a little bit more play in allowing you to experience different academic interest, or allow you to actually connect things that may not come to mind as being able to be connected. And so it's pretty exciting to have that unique experience with our college. Now, we are also the college that has a lot of the general education requirements. So pretty much everyone at the university has to come and interact with us at some point. But we have over 80 majors on campus. We have over 100 minors. Uh, we actually have over 30 languages that are being instructed here. So we know that we're a big college. We have over 16,000 students just in the College of Arts and Sciences alone. And that tends to bring out the stereotype that all of our classes are huge and overwhelming. And I'll tell you, though there are those classes on campus, those general education courses can get pretty large. But the nice thing about that is that we know this, and we compensate with that by allowing those classes to have recitation sections as well as the major lecture hall course, so that you can still get that more one-on-one experience with an instructor, sometimes a faculty member, sometimes a graduate student, and 30 or fewer students. So you're never going to be completely lost in a crowd. Actually, 86% of our classes have fewer than 50 students. And you'll notice that as you start getting more into your major specific courses, the class size is going to go down lower and lower. So 48% of all credit hours on campus are actually taught by our college. That's what I said about the general eds. Those tend to be with us. And you can see a breakdown of some of the populations within our community. So 19% of students are actually considered underrepresented minorities. 24% of students are first generation. So you'll see a lot of our support services on campus understand that we have these populations, and we want to help, and we want to make sure that you're supported. So we'll talk a bit more about that later as well. 20% of our students are honors and scholars students, and 10% of our students are actually international students as well. So you also have the option within our college of doing a double major or adding on a minor. That's going to be your choice. You get to work with an advisor on that, but having that breadth of different areas under our college can actually make that a really exciting experience if you're interested in rounding out your education in that way. So I recommend going to this site at some point. It's a really great resource to help you narrow down what you might be interested, or even just see what programs we have, because over 80 is a lot to go through. So it's go.osu.edu/asc-explore. And I'm going to throw up a few screenshots so you know what to expect. So when you first get to the page, this is what you're going to see. And it's a bunch of different tiles of different areas of interest. And you can select whichever ones that you actually might be interested in studying, might be interested for a career. I'll leave that up to you. But when you select View Matches, you're going to come to a page that looks like this. And you'll actually be able to go through and narrow down by majors, minors, and even graduate programs if you're looking really far ahead. And you'll see these different blocks of different majors, as well as the upper corner where you'll see how many of those interests you selected are actually considered matching to that major. So you see from what I picked, astronomy, astrophysics, physics, atmospheric sciences, and it'll just keep narrowing them down to maybe the next one's 3 out of 7 interests or something of that sort. If you actually click on one of those boxes, you'll be taken to a page that'll give you a lot more information on that major. So if there's a major you don't really know what it is or that you might be interested in, go ahead and click on that. So it'll let you see some of the information about the major itself, some of the affiliated departments and centers, some of the buildings and uh, associated facilities that you may be interested in looking into. But probably the most important piece of information is going to be that academic advisor tab. So if you're considering a major, want more information, or even maybe want to see if you can talk to a faculty member or something like that and you need some direction, you can actually contact that academic advisor. Lindsay is the academic advisor for physics and is wonderful and always willing to help out. So that's how you'll find that information. But here is a breakdown of our major natural mathematical science majors. So you'll see we have things like your biology and chemistry that you're probably used to, but we also have already structured programs that allow you to narrow things in. So we have our zoology, our molecular genetics, our microbiology, if you want more of a subset of biology. We also have some really interesting programs such as the integrated major in math and English, which is actually a response to recent feedback we've gotten from employers and our graduating students that we have great problem solving skills in our STEM programs, but sometimes we lack communication skills. And so that major was actually created recently to address those issues. You'll also see down at the bottom the pre-health uh, category there actually has an asterisk by it. And that's because you don't actually come into our university as a pre-med major, for instance, or a pre-dental major. You can do those pre-professional program preparations with any one of our majors. So it doesn't even have to be within the College of Arts and Sciences or within sciences itself. You can have an art major, but still fulfill the necessary requirements to enter into a professional school. And your advisor is able to help you out with that as well. So just one more screenshot here. If you actually go to the department website, so say you're interested in actuarial sciences, which I have up here, and you actually go into that department website, when you scroll down to information about the major, you'll also see this breakdown, and I think it's really important. So you'll see the different prerequisite courses, the different major courses that you'll have to take. Actuarial science is a little special, and it's why I chose this example because it has exams that you have to take as well. And so it gives you all of that information there. And then it breaks it down into a sample for your schedule. So this will help you see maybe what your schedule might look like when you get here, or if you're coming in with any additional AP or transfer credits, it can actually help you kind of see what you may need to switch around, where you may have some extra room. If you are going to graduate early, if you're going to take on a minor, you can start looking at that already. And of course, we'll be here to support you when it comes to making those decisions as well. All right, so let's talk about facilities. So obviously when you go on and see the major specific information, you'll see some of the facilities that you may want to take a look at, but here are just 3 that we want to briefly talk about. So the Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering and Chemistry Building, we call it CBEC because everything here has a really long name. It's actually our first LEED certified lab space on campus, which is a certification about sustainable building. And we're really proud of it. It's really beautiful on that side of campus because of the arts installation in the bottom floor, those hexagonal lights you'll see in the picture. But it's really interesting in the way that it is primarily all glass. And the glass windows are tinted so that they actually moderate the temperature regardless of time of year. But even on the inside of the building, you can see through into lab spaces, you can see through into offices. And it combines 2 of our major STEM programs, being our chemistry and our chemical and biomolecular engineering departments, so that there's more interest in collaboration that's already kind of built in just to the structure of the building itself. The second facility here, the high energy density physics scarlet laser facility, it is a physics research facility, as you might already have guessed there. But it actually has the ability with the equipment that it has there to, yes, study high density matter, probe high density matter with the lasers, but you can also reduce the pulse duration, study more transient phenomena in the biological and chemical sciences as well. So even things that don't seem like it's completely interdisciplinary can actually have that aspect to them as well. And then the Advanced Computing Center for the Arts and Design may be a little stretch for our presentation, But I do like to point out that a lot of our students are coming in, and yes, they have the problem solving and the interest in STEM, but they also have an artistic and a creative side. And this is one area where we actually really bring those two together. So we have our graphic designers, we have our technology students, we have, as you'll see in the picture here, we had a visiting conductor with the music school come into the motion capture lab. So there's a lot you can do on campus and actually bridging between those areas. And that's a really exciting way that it's being shown. Uh, but considering that you are probably a science student here, I want to talk a little bit about faculty and research. So in the fiscal year of 2018, we had 712 awards totaling $105 million. And you can see the breakdown of where that's coming from primarily here. And this is the part where students' eyes glaze over, and I completely understand. Because when you're looking at this, you're probably thinking, we have great faculty, we're keeping good faculty, there's good money here, our research is being well funded, so we have all of the resources we need, and we can choose projects that are kind of at the forefront of our fields. And that doesn't tend to mean a lot to students, but I want to tell you what that means. So for our students, that means that there's room for your faculty to have you in the lab earlier and more often. It means that there's space for you to get in, get hands-on research experience, and that there are a lot of different labs and research projects that you can join in on. It also means that we have kind of pre-structured relationships, whether it be with different community labs, whether it be with businesses, whether it be with federal uh, industries and different agencies. We already have that together. So when you're looking for jobs and you're looking at networking and that really important side of STEM, uh, it's kind of there for you and you get to leverage that a bit. And that's really important. So talking more about our actual faculty, we have over 1,400 faculty members. So pretty much all of this is just going to be scratching the surface. But I want to talk to you about what you can expect from your faculty here. So Dr. Rich, she is a microbiologist and she is co-leading a team of 13 international scientists that are researching how thawing permafrost is affecting climate change. Dr. Badu in the center, he is actually developing, creating paper test strips for malaria detection. And he is someone who has graduate students and postdocs, as well as undergraduate students and even high schoolers in his lab. He has a real commitment to getting students into research early. And then Dr. Laura Lopez on the side there, she is actually a Hubble and an Einstein Fellow with NASA before coming to Ohio State. And her major research project is working on testing the feasibility of one of 4 space-based telescopes that's set to be launched in the 2030s. But she was actually awarded a Cottrell Scholars Award, which is given to 24 faculty members nationwide each year, and it's for people that are at the forefront of teaching and researching in the sciences, so combining those two things. And she's actually our third at Ohio State, and we're very proud of that. So your faculty members really are world-class researchers and teachers, and it's really going to impact the way that you're learning in the classroom and what you're able to learn and to consume while you're here. But our labs aren't just about one faculty member. So the Wasaki lab, run by Vicki Wasaki, she's actually been a favorite faculty member of a lot of my students. She actually runs a lab. She does proteomic research. She runs a lab that is actually considered a biomedical technology research resource, which means that in addition to just the research problems that they're studying, they're also creating different lab techniques. So this lab was actually the first to use a technique called surface-induced dissociation, where you take a protein complex structure and you slam it into a surface within a mass spectrometer, and it allows you to see that protein complex structure as close to its natural state as possible. And so they created that. That's something that happened here. The Bird Polar and Climate Research Center, it's probably one that's more known about. It's been around since 1960s, and it does a lot of research on its own. It does contribute to a lot of policy making, informative decisions that way with the state, but it also helps out all of climate science on campus. So they will help with human resources, grant writing, getting actual materials that you need. And it's one way that our research is all interconnected, and we really do try to support research across campus. So if you're interested in research, I will say we do have an office of undergraduate research and creative inquiry. So there are people specifically there to help you if that's what you're interested in. But if you're interested in another academic challenge and finding a smaller community on campus, we do also have the option of honors and scholars. So the Honors and Scholars Center holds both of these programs, but they are two distinct programs. So the honors program is primarily a curricular program. It is one where you will, yes, live with other honors students, but not necessarily of the same academic interest as you. But you'll take honors versions of your classes. They'll be a little more advanced, they'll be a little faster, what have you. But it'll be an extra academic challenge. You do also do a capstone project with the honors program, and there are a lot of different opportunities that you have as far as community events and things like that that are there to support you. The Scholars Program is more of an extracurricular program. So there are actually 17 unique communities, and they range everywhere from business, entrepreneurship, sports and wellness to the ones you'll see at the bottom of the screen there that are more STEM related. But it doesn't have to be based off of your major. I run the STEM Scholars programs, but I actually have dance students and business students, as well as nursing, pharmacy, and all of our traditional STEM majors as well. So you pick based on interest, not on major. You live with people in that specific community, and you do community and academic events based on the theme of your community outside of the classroom primarily. So typically, our scholars programs are 2 years, and we get a lot of questions if you can do both honors and scholars. And the answer is yes, but you have to do it in a specific way. So you can't come into the university as both an honor student and a scholar student. You gotta pick one. You can be reviewed for both, but you have to select one at the end of the day. So the scholars programs are unique in that it's more of a cohort model. So you have to come in during that first year. So you have to apply during your application to the university. After the first semester, however, you can also apply to be an honor student. So if you want to do both, you do have to come in as a scholar, but you always have the option of coming in as an honor student or doing both later. And I'm happy to answer more questions about that if you have something more specific you want to know. All right, so if I thought that faculty and facilities were just scratching the surface, our courses most certainly are. We have different resources online, such as our course catalog, that can help you if you want to see what you might be able to take. But here are just 4 potential classes. These are all offered. But I want to talk about the way that you're going to be learning. So the first course there, the HIV course, it's actually team taught by a virologist and a historian. And so what's really important about that is that we're not only teaching you the science behind disease, but we're going to teach you about the sociocultural implications of the disease as well. So you're going to get a very well-rounded education on this topic. The DNA fingerprinting workshop, it's actually a service learning course where you will learn all about forensic sciences related to whatever topic is being taught there. And we'll actually take you out into the local schools and will allow you to kind of take ownership and take leadership really early in your college career. So you're going to actually be doing the teaching. You're actually going to be making an impact on other people's education, other people's lives. And it's really great experience for our students. The third course there, the Introduction to the Practice of Statistics, this is one where we're going to give you real data. We're going to allow you to actually see how messy it is. We're going to allow you to really work through it so that you're actually prepared for what you're going to be doing. And it's a great introduction if you're looking into data analytics. And then the fourth course there, our Ohio Birds course. This is one where we're going to actually let you interact with the information that you're learning in real life in the community. So you're going to be learning about local species, and then you're going to be going out and actually seeing it. So we're going to let you make connections past just what a textbook can tell you. All right. But there are a lot of supports outside of the classroom, outside of your faculty as well. So we have things like the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, the Multicultural Center, the Student Wellness Center to support you as a person. Almost all of our departments are going to have tutoring specific for your subjects, and can be free and paid for. We have the Dentist Learning Center where you can actually be taught about how to actually study, how to time manage, those sorts of skills. We have our wellness resources such as the actual health center, we have our dining services. We have a lot to cover whatever challenge or need that you have. But I want to point out the Center for Career and Professional Success because it's a really good demonstration of the ways that you can get support. So if you're a student in networking and kind of the business side of things don't come naturally to you, no problem. I was there too. You don't know what questions to ask. You don't even know what you're supposed to know in that part of your life. We have signature programming where there are actually workshops being put on that you can go to and get your questions answered, or find out more information so you know what you're even supposed to be asking. You don't actually have to drive that conversation. But we also have career coaches, so if you do have something specific that you want to know and you do feel more comfortable and you do want to drive that conversation, you can get some one-on-one attention that way too. And I like to point this out because our focus isn't on making you meet a standard, it's on meeting you where you are and raising you up and helping you grow. And you're going to find that in all of our services across campus. All right, so Buckeye Life, my students did a much better job of talking about this than I can. Um, but being a Buckeye is a really special thing. We are our own community, and I don't know many other organizations where people out in the community that weren't really connected still have a love and a connection to us. Um, Buckeye Life is strong in Ohio, and you'll find people all over the world that are going to have that same connection with you. But I also like to point out that Columbus is the 14th largest city in the nation. We have access to a lot, and being a Buckeye and being in the Columbus area can expose you to a lot and can open a lot of opportunities for you. So it's something to keep in mind as you're making your college decisions. Uh, we know that this is also going to be a bit of a trying time. So we would just like you to refer to the Office of Undergraduate Admissions for information regarding deadlines for this application cycle. And you have the address there for where you can go and find all of the up-to-date information on when things need to be turned in, when you can expect information to be given to you. All right, so here's my information again, and I do want to continue to stress that I am happy to help you with any questions that you have regarding your application or your interest in our institution here. So thank you for spending time with us today, and please reach out if you have any questions. Okay, so I'll have you all go around and introduce yourselves. Brittany, if you want to start.
Yeah, I'm Brittany Shine. I'm going into my third year. I'm from Cincinnati, and I'm a data analytics major.
Chelsea, you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Chelsea Michon. I'm going into my third year. I'm from Long Island, New York.
Hi guys, my name is Manasa Prabhala. I'm going into my second year and I'm from Dublin, Ohio.
So you all have a lot of really diverse experiences. How did you go about finding things to get involved in?
Yeah, I personally found that the involvement fair was a little overwhelming for me. There were so many great opportunities that I signed up for literally everything. So I actually found that by talking to people in my classes and even professors, they would say, oh, I know someone in this really cool club, or I'm involved with this. And you get to not only learn about that person and their passions, but you really get to hear firsthand what some of the organizations are on campus.
Yeah, a great way to get involved is, go to the involvement fair, hear about opportunities on campus by reading signs just hung up literally everywhere on campus. Another way that I found to get involved with a lot of cool organizations and different opportunities within the college is to read the college newsletters that get sent out every week. And those usually have a lot of opportunities when clubs are meeting, maybe even TA opportunities. So I usually read those and see what's going on and kind of see if, a club is holding free pizza or something and see if I'm interested.
I also agree the involvement fair was a fantastic opportunity to learn about different clubs and organizations. It was slightly overwhelming, but I took all their pamphlets and then sorted out what I wanted to be involved in and what I didn't. Also, there was a peer leader in one of my classes for my major, and she talked about some great clubs, and I've joined them and have been part of them ever since.
So what are your classes like?
Yeah, I know for me personally, I went to a small high school, So the thought of coming to a university like Ohio State and its size was really daunting to me. And I was really worried about being one of 400 students in a huge lecture. What I found is through my classes, I really haven't had that experience or ever felt like I was just one of the masses. I found that every professor that I've reached out to has been more than willing to work with me in office hours or even schedule outside office hours. Everyone is so collaborative and supportive that I think it's a really special environment, and it doesn't feel like you're at a school of 60,000. It really does feel like a community in your classrooms.
I think the classes kind of range from person to person. I think if you take up opportunities such as office hours, resources on campus, like the Math Help Learning Center, I think you can do really well and kind of strive, but there are those classes that are 500, 600 people that you are going to probably be in your first or second year. And those can be difficult, but kind of what Brittany said, would go to office hours, go to those resource centers, make connections, and you're not going to feel like one of the numbers. But you also, in addition to those large lectures, you also have recitations and labs, which are at max 30 people. So you have that one-on-one opportunity. Um, so you're never really only in a 600 person class. You also have a TA that's there for you to help you and like give you pointers because they've taken the class before and they've done well.
So most of my classes are very well organized, have all the notes posted, and great office hours to help every student. You know, if they can't make it to one, they can make appointments. There's undergraduate TAs, graders who also have office hours. So if you reach out, they're more than willing to help. And even though the classes are so fast paced, there's so many people around you that you can work together with. Nobody will really turn you down. And teachers also really push for the classes to be a collaborative environment. So it's a great opportunity to work on team working skills, learn about things going on around OSU, and have a study buddy.
Nice. So what's been your favorite class so far?
That's a great question. I think that this last semester I took a stats class that was specific to my major, and the professor was probably the best professor I've ever had, maybe the best teacher I've ever had. And one thing that really impressed me about him is he knew everyone in that room. He knew their name, their major, and their year, which it was still a class of 50 people in multiple sections, but you could tell that he really cared. And that was something that made that class one of my favorites, was just having that experience specifically with him who cared so much about the students and their success.
Yeah, so my favorite class is microbiology just because I thought the professors did a fantastic job. There happened to be two professors where at halfway through the year, the other would take over. And I didn't have any problems with them. The lab was super fun and definitely hands-on and taught you a lot about lab safety and how to use a lot of equipment that you would never use otherwise. I also found the course material interesting, which is important for any class that is your favorite, I guess. But anytime I went to office hours, the professors were so sweet. They were always informative. And, you know, even if I asked a not so smart question, they were always willing to answer. So they definitely made the class for me.
My favorite class was theater. It has nothing to do with my major, but it was my first gen ed. I've never been a theater kid, maybe attended one play in my high school, but it was a fantastic opportunity to learn new things. I dabbled in acting. Me and my team made a play. I met so many new people in all sorts of grade levels. And I realized that it's really important to take classes that are not related to your major as well, because it helps you be well-rounded, just learn new things, and maybe you'll find that you're interested in something that you never knew about.
I love that. So what do you think is your favorite resource on campus?
So I know it was mentioned a little bit earlier, but the Math and Statistics Learning Center, I work there as a tutor. And coming into college, I was always like, did really well in my math classes, never really worried about them. But like college calc is hard. And I found that having that resource at the Learning Center really helped me because it gave me the opportunity to not only work with other students in my class, but with peer tutors, which sometimes I felt bad going to office hours with 50 questions. And working with other students also gave me the opportunity to learn the material better myself and to help teach it to other people.
I don't know if it's really considered a resource, but I guess it kind of is. I definitely push office hours. My first semester, I didn't really use it. I didn't utilize it as much. And in those really large classes, it was hard for me to understand a lot of the material. And I really didn't do well because I didn't take up those opportunities, such as like the Math Learning Center or the Statistics Learning Center or whatever. And because I didn't do that, I didn't make a connection with a tutor or an upperclassman that's taken the class before, or I didn't make a connection with the professor and they didn't know my name, and it was a lot. But I think office hours is the best resource on campus, along with others, but I think it's the best way to make connections and kind of boost your grade because you also get a lot of connections out of it, and you might be on the verge of like a B plus to an A minus, and if you really know the professor and they know your name, they can really boost you up.
So college is not only about, one specific major, you might be interested in many, and it's also like journey of exploration of all these various majors. So my favorite resource on campus is my advisor. He's always one email away. He always responds quickly or maybe the next day. And he's always there to explain any academic choices that there are that I can partake in or support me in any choice I make. And he also answers questions that Reddit couldn't or my friends couldn't.
Reddit is a good resource for OSU.
Yeah.
That's funny. So what is your favorite thing about being a Buckeye?
Yeah, so I am from Ohio, but I never really thought I'd go to Ohio State. And I definitely had never watched football seriously before coming to Ohio State. But I really like the football games, not necessarily the actual football. The environment in the stands is something that is unlike anything else I had experienced, especially the students. Like, it's these people you would see in classes, and it's almost this bond that you all share. And I think it's really special, and it's definitely something I had never experienced before Ohio State.
I think one of the craziest things about being a Buckeye is how wide our alumni network and just, everyone who's a Buckeye fan, you could be across the world and you're still going to hear someone scream OH from across the room. And it's absolutely insane. No matter where you are, there's a Buckeye who's willing to give you advice, take you in under their wing, and possibly give you a job, which I think is absolutely insane. Um, and also, you just know, like, Ohio's your home. Even if I'm not from Ohio, it's crazy because everything in Ohio, not necessarily everything in Ohio, but there's a lot of Ohio State, which I've learned. And so, you're on campus when it just feels like home. There's just, you're on campus. There's a Blocko everywhere. It feels like home.
So one of my favorite things about being a Buckeye, not only about football games, but it's such a big campus. And with a big campus comes numerous places to study and so many opportunities, so many people to meet. There's always events going on, career fairs, clubs, organizations, so many things you can dabble in, as well as, explore. I think I still haven't explored the entirety of campus, and there's always something new going on every day, so it makes my life exciting.
Nice. So what was the most difficult part about transitioning to college?
Sorry, it just froze. What was the question?
Sorry. What was the most difficult part of transitioning to college?
I think for me personally, I struggled a lot with time management my first year. I am very much a yes person and have difficulty saying no to opportunities and to honestly, different things that people would ask me to do. But I learned very quickly that that was not going to work. Spending too many late nights at the library till 2 a.m., I've learned. And I think learning those time management skills early is so important. And at the beginning, I'd really recommend like trying a bunch of different things, but whittle it down. Find what you're passionate about and stick with it, and start saying no to the things that you're not passionate about. And I think once you do that, you can really get the most out of your college experience.
I think my biggest challenge was understanding that college is nothing like high school class-wise. I remember going through high school and I would study a little bit, maybe it was the night before a test and I was like, oh, I'll just look over the material and I get an A in the class, like no big deal. College is not like that. So many people have found. You're not it's very hard to have that straight 4.0 GPA. It's very difficult to get A's in a lot of these classes unless you really try. And people have done it, but it's not like high school where you can just walk in at like 5 minutes before the class and think you're just going to get an A. You need to put a lot of effort in. And I found the best way to study for all my exams is start a week before. And in high school, if I was talking to a high school me, I'd be like a week before. Like I start an hour before a test and I'm fine. I took AP calculus and I took calculus my freshman year. It didn't go the same way. I got like a 98% in AP calc, but not so great in calculus one at college in college. So
So I also would say time management, because there's just so many things going on. So my first and second semester, I felt really overwhelmed. I wanted to partake in everything. I wanted to do everything. So I did realize that first I had to put academics and this. So I wrote down everything I wanted to be part of and then fit it into my schedule and then figured it out from there. So sometimes my wall would be full of post-it notes and I was like, I want to do this, this, and this. These are my first top 3 priority. And I also would say go into with the mentality into a class that it is not difficult. My first semester, I was like, oh, wow, this is difficult. I can't do it. And my grades reflected that. My spring semester went way better. I was like, oh, yes, I got this. I got this. I can do it. And man, having the right attitude is really important.
Nice. So last question for you all. If you had one piece of advice to give to an incoming student, what would that be?
Try something new. I came into college as a chemical engineering student and very quickly realized I hated chemistry. And I went to a club meeting one night for an analytics organization. And through that organization, I started doing more projects and found something that I honestly loved. And I previously was kind of in this mentality of school's hard, it's not really that fun, like it's never going to be fun. But by really trying something and going in a different direction and opening my mind to that, I found something where I look forward to going to my classes and I'm excited to look at big Excel spreadsheets. And I think really going in with that open mind can make all the difference in your college experience.
I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can give is not to worry too much about on your specific major. I came into the university undecided. I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I didn't like that at all. I like having a straight path. Like these are the classes this is the direction you have to go in. This is the organizations you should be part of. And I absolutely hated not knowing what I wanted to do. So I quickly got out of that and majored, and I kind of regret it because now I'm on a path, but I didn't love it. So I ended up changing my major again, and I'm still on track to graduate on time. I'm actually graduating early, so I might minor, but don't worry about not knowing what you want to do. Even if you're coming in, like what Brittany said, she came in as a chemical engineer major and she didn't love it, but she changed her major to something that she really enjoyed. So even if you come in with something and you find out you're not too passionate about it, don't worry. Like you can, no matter what degree you get, you will find what you love, regardless of the path you take.
One piece of advice I would give students is to take advantage of OSU's opportunities. They're there for you. They're being made for you. And it's so important because you should attend career fairs, join clubs, apply for the executive board positions for clubs that you're passionate about, attend fitness classes so you can stay healthy and de-stress, read your emails, and reach out to new people. Your emails have so much information. Like previously, someone mentioned about newsletters, and those newsletters have information on new clubs you can join, upcoming career fairs. So college is not always about academics. It's, meeting new people through these opportunities. Because even from peers, you learn so much about classes. Maybe they'll tell you some majors that you can look into if you're undecided or you're planning to change because you don't like your major. And just, make your college the best it can be.
Perfect. I want to thank you all for your time being here, for giving our potential students some good advice. So thank you all.